Of course, on a day that I had a migraine earlier, uh, Disney Plus decides to drop 2 episodes on me. Two. Mm. Thankfully, they're pretty good. Both of them, actually. So, yeah, I'm not going to complain quite so much. Daredevil Born Again. So this is episodes 5 and 6. Now, if you've been following me as I talk about this, it's been a little up and down for me. First episode was mostly rough up until towards the very back end of it. Fourth episode wasn't very good for me either. 2 and 3 were pretty solid. This is good. Now, part of it is that like the appeal of each of these 2 episodes is different. And if I had more time, maybe I'd do separate reviews for each of them. But I've spent most of the day trying to recover from a migraine. So I just kind of want to get this done because I lost so much time. But episode 5 is our bank robbery. Now, I freely admit that I am a sucker for a heist, for a bank job. And I don't know for certain if this was the same bank or bank set, depending on where this was filmed, that was used for the movie Inside Man. But boy, was it reminiscent of Inside Man a lot. And that is a movie I have relatively recently rewatched, and I love that movie. So I might be giving this 5th episode more credit than it deserves just because of how much it reminded me of Inside Man between the robbers all showing up with the mask and sort of the way that they were approaching things and everything. Like it's obviously not quite lifting the plot, but like it reminded me enough of that it kind of put me in a happy place. And I will say this, I like Kamala Khan's Yusuf. There we go. Yusuf Khan. I like that he was there. I think they did a little more of a highlight around him than I would have liked. Like him specifically bringing up Ms. Marvel, I didn't need. Like, it's not that it's out of character for him. You know, he's proud of where he's from, and he knows. Well, I'm pretty sure the family knows knows that Kamala is Ms. Marvel. Yes, it's been a little while. Yeah, so like he knows all that, but also like he's proud of like the homegrown hero and everything. So it's not out of character for him to bring up Ms. Marvel. It just felt like you hit the nail on the head already, and then you kept hitting it a little bit more than you needed to. But once that was over, like this actor is really good in this role. He's just warm and lovable as a personality that he brings to this part. So that was really good. I liked I think his name was Devlin, the sort of the head robber. I kind of like, is it cheesy? Like, oh, we're going to have an Irish bank robber on St. Patrick's Day? Like, yeah, but also the episode seems like it knows that. Like leading into the idea that he tells the negotiator, tell me a joke and it'll buy you some more time. And she tells him an Irish joke of all things, but it still makes him laugh. Or that like he brings up the idea of like, I'm not Catholic. So no, St. Patrick's not a big deal to me. Like small things like that. Is it like kind of cheesy, kind of on the nose? Yeah, but like in a way that just kind of worked for me. And also it felt like a good way to escalate things for Matt so that he felt the need to take action, but also even if he felt like this was a time where he should go full Daredevil, where logistically it wasn't really possible for him to do that. So like him getting in that fight on the stair where like he has to take this guy out, but also keep everything so quiet. And like there's good tension in that, and just the whole episode I think was fun. It's always very difficult, I think, when you have a show like this that is more serialized than episodic. I hesitate to call the season fully serialized because like some of these episodes are relatively self-contained. This one in particular, but the thing is, it's always a risk when you basically put your overarching and main plot lines completely on hold to do a self-contained thing. That's a risk. And more often than not, it doesn't work out because you're like, okay, why are we doing this? Why am I being why am I being diverted from the main thing? Except like if it's good, it can be like a breather, a reset, or even just oh yeah, that was a good time. And I just like this. I liked seeing Matt negotiate the situation. I liked the situation. Again, I'm a sucker for heists. I'm a sucker for bank jobs. So this, yeah, that just hit me well. And then the next episode, we get into Muse. Now, this was the one I was dreading a bit more because I will be blunt about this. I don't find anything particularly interesting about Muse. I don't think his gimmick is very interesting. Like, they're hiding his face from the start, so I don't know if that's going to be a reveal of some kind. I don't care. I don't find... I really... And this is true both before and after seeing the episode. I really don't find anything interesting about Muse. That having been said, his presence does interesting things to the other characters and to the overall situation. And that's where it works. Because you have, the pushing of Matt to don the suit again. And it's not even just Muse, because it was just a matter of him finding out there's a serial killer. He's like, I got to put the suit back on. Like, no, it makes it personal by bringing in White Tiger's niece and putting her in direct jeopardy, like that little extra nudge, because he's trying so hard to not do this again, but like, no, he needs to. And so giving it that extra personal step that it's somebody he knows who's in trouble this time, like, yeah, I buy that. That's a good escalation. And then is what it does to Fisk, like him, like the idea that this man sees an image of a freshly painted mural made with paint that was mixed with blood and two dead women in front of it. And he looks at that image and goes, we can use this. Ah, God damn. Cold-blooded in a good way, in the way that I want the Kingpin to be. And, him riling up these cops to have his own personal task force of bad cops. And this is kind of an interesting... I would be curious to see if, first of all, how many of these cops end up being some of the ones with like the Punisher tattoos and whatnot. I wasn't like keeping an eye out for them. There might have even been some in there. But this might be the way where the show kind of has its cake and eats it too. In that it's got to give a group of what have already been confirmed to be the bad apples. And so having either Frank or Matt cut loose on these guys is going to avoid the loaded implications of just having them go after cops in the broader sense. And like I said, that is a little bit having your cake and eating it too. That is like acknowledging, yeah, there is excessive violence and corruption in the police force, but look, we've grouped them all together. Those are the bad ones. And it ignores the larger systemic issues of the fact that regardless of how many or how few bad apples there are, the rest of the system is designed to protect them, and the other cops are often complicit in a code of silence, if nothing else, and it does enable them to continue to do harm. But it was probably never realistic for the show to actually tackle that. So if they're going to do something with the cops and like have the cops be an actual active antagonistic force, this is a pretty good way to do it in a way that Disney was going to greenlight and let them do. Not that I'm necessarily saying that the creators would have done something more incendiary than this if they had the chance. Maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. But I feel pretty confident in saying this is about as strongly as they were going to be allowed to tackle this issue. So accepting the reality of what is or isn't reasonable for them to be allowed and greenlit to do, yeah, that'll work. I love the intercutting of the fight scenes with Fisk and Adam. Oh my gosh, they found something interesting to do with Adam, this guy who I super didn't care about. So impressive there. And again, not because Adam's interesting, but because what Adam is bringing out of Fisk is interesting. And to have that intercutting of the fight scene, much better fight scene than what went on in like episode 1 with Bullseye. God, that fight scene sucked. But like the fight scenes here are better, and also just the editing and the intercutting of Fisk beating the hell out of Adam and Matt beating the hell out of Muse. Yeah. No, it was good and it was strong and it was thematic and it works. It works pretty dang well. So that was a real strong note to end the episode on. I guess the two episodes sort of paired things. It is funny to me that they did this release as back-to-back episodes, because I was like expecting what was going to feel like a part 1 and a part 2. Like, oh, I bet you they released both at once, because the episode 5 is going to feel incomplete unless you see episode 6 right after. And that's not the case, like, at all. So I'm not entirely sure why they did it, but given that they're both good episodes in my book, I'm not going to complain about it, really. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to bring up. I do keep forgetting that Matt is seeing this psychiatrist. I do hope that they actually revisit the idea of her wanting his opinion on an insight on vigilantes, because she has a reason to ask him. Like she said, he does have connections and links to these people. So I'm hoping they do something more interesting with that than just he has to talk around the fact that he's Daredevil. I hope that they'll use that as an actual opportunity to talk the philosophy and psychology behind some vigilantes. So like I hope that they take advantage of that. The stuff with Vanessa, the stuff with Fisk in the with all the rich people was decent. It wasn't the more interesting stuff that came out that they used Fisk for, but it's pretty solid, because it's a reminder that no matter how much power he has or has amassed, as far as these people are concerned, he's still not only an outsider, he's not going to be here very long. He'll be here for the term of his, he'll be here for his mayoral term, maybe a second one, and then they don't have to deal with him again. They hold more cards than he does. As that woman said, like, the people in this room are still the ones who decide who gets to eat. So I also like that they brought in I forget the character's real name, but the swordsman. And there was an allusion to him earlier with some of the. I've legit taken to the BB on the street or whatever the heck it is. As much as I complained about them doing it in 4x3 when there's no logistical reason to do that. They've been using that really well, and I like that as a way that they slip in the swordsman still around. So if you watched Hawkeye, you were kind of like waiting and watching to see if he actually turned up proper, and then he is there with his stupid mustache talking to Fisk. There's actually, I'd say this probably has the best integration. These two episodes have the best integration of story elements from other Marvel properties that aren't overtaking the story and feel like they actually fit. While I kind of knocked Kamala Khan's dad for the show, overemphasizing exactly who he is way more than was necessary, I think that's kind of balanced a little bit by how subtle the swordsman thing was, because they don't really draw attention to that. And if you didn't watch Hawkeye, you don't know who the hell that guy was. But if you did, it's nice to just go, "Ooh, yeah, you know, DiCaprio meme," and it's fun, and it's a nice mix of how these things are integrating in with each other, with stuff that is within the same geographical general area. And this was a good run of episodes, these two. I'm hoping the show can keep with it. I was almost slightly disappointed that Muse got away, because I'm like, you brought Matt out of retirement as Daredevil. What the heck else is there to do with you? Except another part of me goes, well, okay, but if he's caught and stopped right away, then there's nothing to do with the task force. So I guess there is a reason to keep Muse around, because it will enable Fisk to do who knows what with this task force. And like I said, Muse, not interesting. What he is bringing out and enabling the other characters to do, however, that is interesting. So that is a reason to keep him in play, at least for now. So I think that'll wrap it up. Yeah, these were solid. I liked these. Daredevil. Episodes 5 and 6, what'd you think about them? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon pays the bills, enables me to do this as my living, even if you can't help me out that way. Like, share, subscribe. They all help me out. Don't worry too much about it, though. We take a relaxed attitude around here, so you can just come on back next time you need a break.
And now to thank my highest supporting patrons: Robin Moore, Goddess Elida, Zubin Lafula, Jen, Welsh Wrestling Geeks, Oliver B., Alyssa Pedersen, Movie Turtle, Ulrich Bogdan, Melinda Walters, Auntie Kate 808, Andre, Becky Sparks, Claire Wright, Tracy Scrabbit, Angry Kasperl, Dave Hall, Quite Bearish, Rosalind Bennett, Toku Blahuvian, Adam R.D.L. Taylor, Pal Barabajagal, Mary Mello, Mira G, and Sir Didymus is my favorite. If you want to help me ensure that I can keep these guys fed, as well as the other animals and strange creatures that sometimes occupy my house, check out the rewards on the Patreon. Yeah, hello to you too. Bless you.